Hello and welcome back to the Entertainment Vortex. We are at Brennan Theaters today watching Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I really wasn't that excited to see this movie. After watching the trailer, it just did not look good. While I did enjoy aspects of the first Jurassic World movie, the return to the Jurassic franchise, I definitely had problems with it. I felt that the movie had some writing issues. They pretty much just forgot everything they learned in the first three movies. Get ready, because this movie, they just kept forgetting it. They still don't remember anything they learned. It's like every lesson that's supposed to be taught from each movie is forgotten by the time the next movie comes around, and that's just bad writing in my opinion.
This movie is just a constant cycle of who's going to come out at the last second to save the day over and over again. It's just a constant cycle of rehashed things. It's all derivative of one thing or another, whether or not it's within this franchise or outside of it. It just felt like everything had been done before and done better, which is never a good sign with most movies. It's not something that you are excited about. There's nothing novel to it. It doesn't give you anything worthwhile to grab a hold of and actually ride to the finish. A movie like this, there are some small positives that you can pull from them, so I want to talk about those before I start digging into more of the negative aspects that turned me away from this kind of a movie. Pratt and Howard, I felt like they did a really good job, especially considering the actual writing of the film is pretty bonkers. It doesn't really seem to make a lot of sense, but they had great banter back and forth. A couple of the extra characters were entertaining as well, but for the most part there were a lot of people who fell into formula, and that was kind of a drawback. But like I said, specifically the two leads, they did a pretty good job. They're definitely entertaining to watch. I'll watch just about anything that Chris Pratt is in.
I enjoyed some of the dinosaur fights. I enjoyed some of the CG, and the music was really good. I feel some of the acting was done well. Not the young girl. The young girl was really bad. But I feel like Chris Pratt did a good job, and Howard did a good job. They did a good job in the lead roles for what they were given. But the biggest downfall of this movie is the screenplay. This is some ridiculous story. It's stupid story. It's eye-rolling in moments, and really bad dialogue. Like, I couldn't help myself but to lose immersion because I just didn't care about what they were saying. Then, when you get to the point in the movie where you're supposed to get, like, the twists and turns and everything built up to this moment, I'm like, are you kidding me? We don't give spoilers here, and I will not be doing that here. But some of the things they revealed, the one thing I didn't guess in the movie, didn't make any sense. It was like, wait, what? Oh, we're done with that. Oh, we're moving on. Okay, whatever. I guess we're moving on. Didn't make any sense. Then, you've got what I can only describe as I'm gonna save the day at the last second Inception. One person saves the day. Oh no, they didn't quite save the day. Oh, somebody else showed up and saved the day. Oh no, they're not gonna save it. Oh, somebody else shows up and saved the day. That's just stupid.
The CGI and cinematography in this movie were absolutely outstanding. They did a really great job of making everything look at least as good as the first movie, which is saying something considering that was made in the 90s. But it does have value that it adds, because you don't want to sit there and watch terrible CG, and terrible cinematography in a movie like this. They made the locales look, rich and vibrant, and then the actual dinosaurs themselves, they looked like they were there. That's the important thing. But they did a really great job with the visual effects that at least made this movie somewhat watchable.
I'm starting to wonder if this franchise is on its last leg. And that's really sad, because the first Jurassic Park movie, I adored it when I was younger. I actually read the novel first, watched the movie, and even with the differences from the novel, I still loved the movie. Great concept, great idea. But because they're not learning from the previous movies and writing scripts that build off the story and continue on the story correctly, each subsequent movie makes me more and more frustrated. And the whole Jurassic World concept, it just doesn't make any sense. So you're telling me that they chose to build a public theme park at the base of a volcano? No one thought that might be a bad idea? That's just dumb. Plus, there are supposedly super smart characters in this movie that do really stupid things. And I don't even mean like really stupid things like, my life is in danger, so I'm gonna make a split-second decision. I mean just stupid things. And when you see the movie in the first 30 minutes, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's a movie that I spent more time frustrated than I did enjoying it, and that's never a good sign.
I don't swear a lot on camera, but this story was whack as f***. There's just no beating around the bush about it. Everything just felt like it had just been taken from other properties and just kind of mashed together with cliches and over-the-top characters that just don't make any sense or have any legitimate motivations. It's just like, why are you there? Why are you doing this? None of this is important, you know. If that's what you're thinking when you're watching a movie, you're gonna leave dissatisfied every time. I can guarantee that. On the subject of rehashing things, if they do end up getting an opportunity to make another movie, which based on the showings today, I imagine that they will. They'll at least make their money back opening weekend, I imagine. If they could do me a solid, just me, it doesn't have to be for anybody else, but just for me, if they could go ahead and stop rehashing the raptor scenes from these movies. It's ridiculous. It's like they try to one-up themselves every time, but they just play out the same. You know, it's a raptor stalking someone through a building, you know, in really close quarters, and the person's trying to hide, doing these interesting things. It was played out after the first one, and they continue to just beat that horse to death, and it's not entertaining anymore. There's no tension anymore. It doesn't add any value to the actual film, and that's disheartening. You know, it's something, like I said, it was revolutionary with the first film, and then it started to slowly roll downhill with every new movie that they put it in, and now it's just, like I said, it's just played out, and it's not something we need to see anymore.
The villain in this movie is the absolute definition of a mustache-twirling villain. He is super one-dimensional, really annoying, and I didn't really feel he had a chance of succeeding. Super one-dimensional, extremely annoying. I really didn't want to see any more of him on the screen, and you need to have strong lead characters, and you have to have a strong villain in a movie that has that hero-villain dynamic, and if you don't, I think everything falls apart and you just stop caring, and this villain really made me not care.
I've said this in previous reviews for other movies. Don't put BS science in your movies that doesn't make sense. Please, stop with the BS science. It's like, if you're trying to make something that has any modicum of or semblance of reality, stop. You don't need to do all the over-the-top, you know, scientific terms that don't actually make any sense or really mean anything, when there are probably actual scientific terms you could have used if you did a little research. Like I said, once again, it's another thing that devalues your film and doesn't add anything of note.
I'm going to give this movie a 5 out of 10. It had some neat action, good acting with a bad script, sadly. I can see they did the best with what they had, Chris Pratt and Dallas Bryce Howard. But overall, this is not a good movie. I hope deep down that this isn't the death of the franchise. I mean, we had a pretty much sold out crowd. And I know there were showings before ours that were sold out, so there's still a crowd for this. I hope that they don't do what the Transformers series did and just say, no matter what we write, we're going to get the crowd, so let's just half-ass it. I hope they sit down and they really try to write the next chapter. They give it some real thought. This is an amazing franchise with a very unique concept. And if they just take everything they have within the lore and they take it all into account when writing the next script, this could be a great series again. It doesn't have to be this cliche garbage that we're getting over and over.
It's not the worst movie. It's not the greatest movie by any stretch of the imagination. I'm going to give this movie, like Nick did, a 5 out of 10. It's worth seeing if you want to know where the story is going for the franchise or if you want to see the next one. I would see it. I definitely wouldn't have seen it in theaters. It's something that I would have waited to come out on HBO or whatever.
If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. We give you multiple videos every single week. And we have t-shirts available if you're interested in those as well. Those are available down in the description below. We hope you'll follow us into the Vortex. We'll see you next time.